Visiting family is dense, whether you are at your childhood home for the holidays or gearing up for a trip or receiving people at your home. I hope this video can help you prepare and give you some ideas to keep you safe and regulated. So, I'm going to share with you 10 tried and true tips and tricks to manage trauma, triggers, and overwhelm while traveling. And to do that, I'm going to teach you something called trigger planning. Trigger planning is an amazing practice where you prepare for potential triggers before they happen. I have 10 tips that I have used and have worked really well for me. Number 4 is the meatiest. Number 5 is my favorite. Number 6 is the most important. Number 8 is the most controversial. And number 10 is the one I did not know about until yesterday. And if you'd like to follow along with a free worksheet that turns all of this information into a fillable PDF, that link is in the description. I am currently visiting family, and a lot of feelings are coming up. So we're out birding, even though I don't have binoculars, but we're gonna try. I thought that these feelings were coming up because I didn't trigger plan thoroughly enough. And instead, I realized it's because I'm at a new stage of my trigger planning journey. So I will tell you about the new stage after I explain to you what trigger planning is, what is this thing I keep talking about, and how to do it, because it has changed my life. Trigger planning has helped me get to know myself so much better and how to manage so that I can have the life and the experiences that I want without being burdened by how my past traumas show up in day-to-day life, which can be honestly overwhelming at times. And it sucks because I think about normies who don't have to go through this and they can just go home for the holidays. You're going to hear me switch back and forth between calling this trigger planning and travel planning because I was first introduced to it in the 12-step community world, where it is called travel planning, and it is a tool of the 12-step program. Probably, I mean, maybe outside of that too, but that's where I know it from. I've been calling it travel planning for a year and a half, but I feel like for the purposes of this video and for people who are kind of outside of the 12-step world, I was thinking calling it trigger planning is a bit more informative, but I'm going to probably slip and say both. So they both mean the exact same thing: travel planning, trigger planning. The other thing I like about calling it trigger planning is that it's not just for travel, it's really for transitions and being outside of our comfort zone. So that's why I feel like calling it trigger planning is a bit more accurate. Travel planning could be like booking my hotel, which could also be a part of trigger planning, but you know what I mean. Oh, it's so pretty. I love nature. Oh my God, I'm so glad I came outside. Do you ever you're just super depressed and then you just go outside. You're like, oh my God, trees, all bird. A bird just flew by and it landed in a nest. Landed in a nest. I wish I had binoculars. Let's see if we can. Okay, see if I can get a good look at this guy. But I'm not gonna be able to know what it is without binoculars. I'm not a skilled birder yet. I'm just a excited one. There it is. It's in its nest. I see its little butt sticking out. Oh, actually, do I know what that is? It's black. There's 3 of them. Oh, one just dove. Oh, they're blue jays. They're blue jays. Oh, we got a blue jay family. Wow, they're so pretty. I don't know if I could get that on camera. Let me see if I can get the blue jays. There he is. Bye, beautiful guy. I don't know all of the blue jay sounds yet, but blue jays make some insane sounds. Like, it sounds like a hawk. I fell in love with blue jays when I heard them come down like an eagle the first time. I was like, that's a blue jay? Anyway, that was pretty. I'm glad we just saw a blue jay family.
Okay, ways to trigger plan.
Method number 1: giving gifts to yourself. This is important all the time, but especially around travel and when you're going to be doing something big or scary or potentially triggering. It's like a message you have from your future self or from your former self that you love yourself and it's going to be okay. So before my trip, I might give myself a gift like I'm going to make myself a playlist for the road, or I'm going to pack myself a snack for the drive or for the flight or whatever you're doing. Or maybe for my future self, I'm going to make my bed, which is something I don't normally do. But when I'm leaving home, it gives me just this, it's like a container almost. I know I'm coming back. I know I'm going to be coming back to my safe space. I'll have that reminder that Pastor Junie planned for me, that they knew I was coming back and wanted to take care of me and knew that it might have been an exhausting trip. And I have that love and comfort from myself. So think of it as the regulated part of yourself giving a gift to the potentially unregulated or charged or anxious future you. What would they maybe want or need? And plan for that. Okay, so number two, unloading your schedule or tasks and asking for support. So I don't know if you're like me, but what I do is when I have a stressful thing coming up, I like to do the opposite of what you should do. And I like to add more stress. I like to be like, oh, you know what would be nice? More stress. I should clean my whole kitchen. I haven't cleaned my whole kitchen in 2 years, but now's a perfect time. Or maybe this is when I should repot all those dying plants. Like, just like, what? I used to do that. And this is literally the opposite of that. Take out your calendar, take out your planner, take out your to do list, and say, which of these actually do not need to happen right now? Which of these could I totally postpone with no hair off my back, no skin off my back? So let's say you have like a coffee date planned with a friend, but it doesn't really need to happen that week. And it actually, like, you might not even be present when you go. So you just ask that friend, hey, friend, would it be chill if we just did that in like a week or 2 weeks instead? And your friend's gonna go, oh my God, like completely. Like, of course. Like they're going to completely understand. So, is there anything on your calendar before, during, or after that you can let yourself have a break from, cancel, postpone, or ask for more support around? We got some deer prints. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, deer footsteps. Following your footsteps, dear people. There's a deer. There's a deer. Hi, friend. Oh, you're beautiful. I don't want to disturb you. Did you go through childhood trauma? I bet so, bruh. Hi, you're super gorgeous. I'm not gonna bother you. I'm just making my merry way through your forest. Hi. Just walking slow because it's icy. You're very cool. I love you. Bye. Yay, dear friend. Okay, so, and you're my dear friends. Let's take a beautiful little perch at this bench. I don't know where this habit comes from of trying to overload ourselves when we're already stressed. I found that by lowering the expectations, I'm actually able to meet so many of the better parts of myself. And I don't mean better like there's any bad part, just the parts that make my life more manageable, more free. FKA Twigs, who's an artist that I really admire in a lot of ways, she has this great interview where she talked about just keeping the temperature nice around her. I don't remember what the exact quote was, but she said, like, I just like it when, I've just noticed that if I keep a nice temperature around me, like a balmy 75 for me, if I keep a nice temperature, I just giggle more. I just giggle more. I just enjoy. And that to me is like the sign of progress. Like when I have given myself self care to the point where I am now softening and being more vulnerable with the people that I love and not needing to tighten all the time, that's the gift. That's what we're doing here. That's why. Oh, we got a good boy with a big stick. Oh my god, what a cute good boy. I'll talk about this in a later video, but yeah, do I even want to say it right now? A month ago, a little over a month ago, my dog passed away. She made an appearance, if you saw her, in my, two of my videos, I think. Yeah, and I thought that seeing dogs afterwards was gonna send me, like it was gonna make me so mad. And like totally the opposite. I fucking love it. I love seeing dogs. Always. And I see her still. Hey baby, she's here. What a good boy. Look at that dog running through the forest. What a sweetie. I love outside. My dog and I used to do that. We used to come here to this forest and hike around. She was the best at it. One time I got us lost. I got us so lost. I had no idea where we were, and the sun was setting, and it was like, okay, this is what stupid people do. And I just figured out like which way north was or west or whatever. And well, all of them. If you find one, you're a pretty good shot. You're getting the others. Unless you mess it up like I do and like never waffles, soggy eat. But okay, Yoda. So yeah, and I just like took us. I was like, okay, we're just gonna go straight through this brush because we got to get home. And we were like fighting off branches. It was so awful, like going through the thickest thicket. And then we got out to the road. And I was like, oh my God, we found the trail again, thank God. And I like took a right and she took a left. And I was like, nah, babe, I don't want to go hiking anymore. I want to go home. But she was totally right. I was going the wrong direction. The entire time, she knew exactly where we were. And she was like, bestie, we're going home. So, number three, packing items that are sacred, essential, or luxurious for our well being. A favorite blanket, fuzzy slippers, a bathrobe, sensory deprivation items. It could be like sound canceling headphones, earplugs, an eye mask. And what that does for me is if I am in a really triggered state, if I'm really overwhelmed, I can even double like layer them. One time I was so triggered. I really just a really traumatizing thing happened while I was away from home. And I put my eye mask on, I put my earplugs in, I put my sound canceling headphones on, turned on the sound canceling function, and I just played relaxing music and I just lay on my friend's couch and just let nothing touch me. I was just totally in my own cocoon. It was fabulous. So what are those items for you? Is there a book that you like to reread and thumb through? What was that?
I got really excited about this bird, so I forgot to talk about medicine items or sacred items, and that might be something portable, something small that was gifted to you by someone you really love and cherish. Or it might be a rock you found outside that's the size of your palm and grounds you. One of your animal's toys if they're not on the trip with you to remember that they're back home waiting for you.
Oh my gosh, is that another blue jay call? What was I telling you? Blue jay calls are insane. Those calls, both of those calls were by the same freaking bird. They have so many. So think about your trip and what would be most beneficial to you on this specific trip to help you feel like you cared for yourself. Oh my gosh, should we go down the steep hill? Should we go down the steep icy hill? Do you don't? Do you don't? What do we say about adding stress to our lives? And that brings me to number four, which is the big kahuna. So the big kahuna is getting ready for all the potential triggers. Step one of that looks like writing them down. So go through your trip and just write down what are the big events that are happening. If it's helpful, if there's many things, then maybe write the dates down and get a little like written schedule for yourself, and then put an asterisk asterisk next to the events that feel like they might be triggering. Step three is to then look through those highlighted items, those asterisked items. I think I got it right that time. And then write down a potential tool that you could use that would help you with that trigger. One of those things might be bookending. And I have a short video on what bookending is and how to use it. So I can link that above and below. But pretty much bookending is just checking in with a friend before and after the big thing. And that can look like a phone call or a text message or literally just like sending an emoji, just having somebody who's holding space for you outside of that thing. And it just feels nice to know that you're held. Or maybe you're going to be somewhere without your own method of getaway. That was something I had to plan for. I realized that I'm very used to being able to leave, come and go at my own whim. And instead, I was going to have other people relying on me to get them back home. So I came up with a little emergency knapsack. And that knapsack had my journal, it had my sound canceling headphones, and it had a crochet project. And it came so in handy because I indeed did get triggered around these people. And I just said, oh, you know what? I have to go take a phone call. And I walked myself out to the car and I sat in the car and took out my journal, put my headphones on, played some music, and I just wrote until I felt better. And it is such a freeing feeling. It is such a goddamn freeing feeling to say, actually, like, I planned for this. I kind of knew that you were going to try to push my buttons, and I'm good. And the brilliance about this travel planning stuff is that you start to feel the benefit and effects before you even need these tools. The point is, you might not even end up using these tools, but the fact that you have them there ready, it changes everything. It seriously changes everything because I walk in and already the anxiety that I would feel of just not knowing what I'm going to do if something happens is gone. Last step of this tip number 4 is that you might want to look at your schedule and rearrange stuff. If you've kind of piled on, if there's just like a bunch of stuff all happening together, you might just want to unbunch it or plan some pauses for yourself in between if possible. We got a hawk. Okay, so that was the big kahuna. It's just like getting into the meat of it, you know? Oh, and also lastly, if the tools that you wrote down for these triggering events include any specialty items that you want to bring with you, then make sure you add those to your list from tip number 3. And I know there's a lot of tips in this video, and I actually have created a cute little, would you say so myself, worksheet that has all this stuff written down in it. So if you want it in a written form that you can just follow along with, then I will post that below. Okay, the next one is my favorite. Tip number 5 is fears and fantasies, and it goes along with tip number 6, which is intentions and affirmations. So, first, fears and fantasies. This revolutionized my travel planning, my trigger planning, when I learned about it because it is that unspoken nitty gritty thing at the back of my head that I couldn't really name. And that is the expectations we have in our minds and the fears and anxieties about the future we have in our minds. Fears are the things that you are scared about happening on this trip, the scenarios that your mind has cooked up that you're like, I really hope, or what if. And this step is about writing those down, confronting the beast, saying, you know what, I'm really terrified that my entire family's gonna explode. I'm really terrified that I'm gonna get triggered and backed into a corner. I'm really scared that this person's gonna say something about this thing I feel really sensitive about. I'm really scared that I'm gonna have to explain what I've been doing with my life when the answer is not much except for like healing generational trauma. And this is hard, right? It's hard to be around people who don't totally get us. And it's hard to be around people where we feel like we need to explain and where those things are, yeah, really, oh, there's fur. I need to not have ADHD right now. So write down the fears, and then we go into fantasies. Now, this one I think is even more elusive than fears because I know what I'm anxious about, right? But a lot of times I do not admit to myself what I am fantasizing about. Fantasizing that nothing's going to happen, that everything's going to be okay. And sometimes I feel like the fantasies can kind of be our nervous system's adolescent way of dealing with the fears, but it's a way of kind of glossing over what might happen. And it's really nice to write them out. It's really nice to be like, okay, yeah, like this is what I'm hoping is going to happen. This is where I'm laying my expectations. And if it doesn't happen, I'm going to feel disappointed. I'm going to feel heartbreak. If we're talking about like a trip to see your family, like that's big, you know, there's definitely our inner child like has expectations of what they want to happen. And it's nice to be able to hold that with ourselves and say, yeah, like I hear you. Like that would be really cool. And also, if it doesn't, it's okay. So after we write our fantasies, we get into tip number 6, which is writing down intentions and affirmations. Intentions and affirmations are meant to help ground us. I think it's well documented that having a sense of purpose really is great for the human psyche. It really is something that we enjoy and that keeps us on track and mentally well. So think about, what is the purpose of this trip? If you are going, there must be a purpose, right? Otherwise, don't go. If we don't feel a reason, a powerful spiritual or personal reason that we need to be in the place that we are at, we're going to feel isolated and alone. And that's just how it is, you know? So for me, it's like, oh no, I'm choosing, even in these moments when I'm visiting family and I feel like I'm trapped or like I have no agency because that's how I felt when I was a kid. I'm an adult. I am choosing to go and see them. I just almost fell. I am choosing for some reason that's important to me. So, yeah, so what is that intention for you on your trip that could help you stay clear, stay focused, and have something that you're working towards? An intention is an aspiration I can have for my trip that I have control over. The important part is I have control over it. So even if everything else is going haywire, it is okay because I know I can still meet this thing. And by meeting it, I actually develop a lot of self confidence and self esteem and sense of control and grounding because I know that nobody else can take it away from me. And the beautiful part of the intention is it really becomes a touchstone. So when things are acting up, when you're feeling out of sorts, out of power and control, you can return to your intention and it can bring you back because there's something decent to work on. And the way to set an intention might be to sit down somewhere cozy, take a deep breath, have something to write with, and just let your body relax and open yourself up to an intention. Just let your mind be free, be open, and see if anything comes to you. Examples of intentions I have used in the past are, I intend to practice not self abandoning. I intend to spend time outside every day. I intend to spend time in my childhood bedroom, turning it into an oasis for myself. I intend to pause when I feel triggered or reactive. All of these intentions, they are gentle. They are ones that I control myself. They are not about other people's behavior, and they're not forceful. So, for instance, the intention that I'm going to practice not self abandoning. The intention isn't, I am not going to self abandon. I am never going to self abandon. My, wouldn't that be nice? But to practice not self abandoning. In moments where I get triggered into feeling like I'm not enough, like something's wrong with me, I'm not good enough, or something's wrong, something insurmountable is happening, I might abandon for a second and think, but Junie, like you're so stupid, you shouldn't have come here on this trip, or like, oh, like there's something is wrong, like you know, you're lying to yourself, and that is okay. Like those impulses are going to come up, but the actual point is to gain recognition that that was happening and support myself in shifting back to something healthier. If I remember that my intention is to practice not self abandoning, all I have to do is, oh, right, okay, this is the moment where I said I was going to practice. And I cannot stress how empowering it is to, in that moment, not just say, oh, like another reality is possible. But also, my former self just did that. My preparation for this trip just did that. I used this challenge actually as an opportunity to grow. That's the other thing that trigger planning is really about, which is these moments where we used to fall apart, where we used to shatter and lose ourselves, instead using them to dig down and be like, no, I know who the I am. And it changes your whole life. I literally, since I started trigger and travel planning, I have been able to walk through so much stuff because this really becomes a life skill. It becomes something that you almost do second nature. And I have been able to walk through so many things that I was terrified like, how that's going to break me. That's going to make me fall apart. And it just didn't. I am still stunned at the things I've walked through in the last year that I didn't break. And one of those was losing my dear and precious dog. Um, and I don't like the word losing because she's still very much here, but she was my best friend in the entire world. I thought I was going to be in shambles. And of course, it has been and it was very difficult. And at the same time, I knew I was going to be okay. And I felt this connection to her that could never be broken. And I did a really great job. I'm actually going to make a separate video about this, about supporting myself and planning and preparing for her death and for the different stages of her illness and sickness. So I can't believe that I'm saying this today, but like, I'm okay that she's gone, that she's where she needs to be. And I know she'd be happy that I'm getting healthier every day. And now, affirmations. Now that you have an intention that you feel connected to, that you feel guided by, we can now write some affirmations to ground down into your intention, even when the fears and the fantasies come up. And a tip on affirmations is they are much better received and accepted by the central nervous system if they are gentle. So, not things like, I am a princess in a triggered state. That might be hard to take. Something softer, like, I am going to be okay. I have people who love me. There is nothing wrong with me. I have a right to be myself, just like anyone else. I am much, and it is extra and okay. I am learning every single day, and I'm allowed to make mistakes. Okay, and that brings us to number 7, which is my other favorite one, which is post trip care, also known as aftercare. When you get back from your trip, you are going to feel potentially exhausted. And even if not, even if the trip went well, like transitions, at least for me, can be pretty hard. And they're a time for me to be extra mindful. So as I transition back into my everyday life, it can be really helpful to give some gifts to myself. So going back to tip number 1, also to declutter my schedule, going back to tip number 2, and 3, plan some nice things for my reentry. That might be a dinner date with a friend who wants to hear like the full download of what happened. It might be like clearing my schedule for the night I get back and putting on some music, letting myself unpack, even though, let's be real, I don't do that for like, I literally don't pack until like the next time I have to leave. I'm like, oh, right, this suitcase. Putting on my favorite movie while I get back into my routine, and also giving myself a break just to let myself breathe, have fun, take it slow, and time to process everything that might have happened. Whatever I need to feel balanced, right with the world, welcome myself back home is what I'm going to do. Now, this brings us to our most controversial tip yet. Tip number 8, which is maybe stay home. Maybe don't go. What I mean by that is not to cause alarm, because I know that whenever my decisions are questioned, because I'm learning to rebuild trust with myself, I can freak out and be like, oh my God, I'm about to make the wrong decision. That's not what I'm talking about. This tip is permission for you to say, if I feel I need to build an Iron Man suit around me in order to walk into the situation and still feel safe, if all this planning in itself is giving me so much anxiety and actually not making me feel better. Like, I feel like there's really no amount of support that I could give that would still ensure this is a healthy trip for me to take. Maybe don't go. And I say that as somebody who is doing the balancing act of, do I need to be in relationship with these people or not? It's a hard one. It's a really hard one. These are the hard ones. 8, 9, and 10 are going to make me emotional probably. And it doesn't have to be definitive, right? When I say maybe don't go, I don't mean never see your family again. But there are certain trips that I decided and recognized were actually not healthy for me. And I say no to those trips now. I used to go visit my family like once a month. And it took my best friend reflecting to me, like, Junie, you barely have any time to settle into your routine when you get home. And of course, I was like very used to being dysregulated. I was very used to putting other people in my family and their needs ahead of my own. I was very used to just not knowing that I had needs and just being codependent, honestly, with my family. And so it took some time and assuaging, and it felt like death. It felt like being ripped away to say, actually, like, maybe this isn't what I want, and maybe I don't need to go this time. And just tapping into my central nervous system and being like, what is actually good for me right now? And putting myself first. You're allowed to do that. Did you know that? Did you know that you are allowed, like fully allowed to put yourself first? Because I didn't know that. Still, I like, as I'm saying this, there's one person in my family that I'm like, if they watch this video, they're going to be like, Junie's such a bitch. Or Junie's a selfish. Like, these are the thoughts that are coming into my mind. I kid you not, as I'm sharing this with you. Like, oh my gosh, I'm saying you can put yourself first, but that's because I'm a narcissist. Junie, it's okay. Those voices, I'm going to fully stop walking because this is important. Those voices are going to come. You're going to feel like taking care of yourself and giving yourself what you need is wrong. That's by design. That's how the trauma happened. So we're going to breathe and we're going to get through this because you deserve it. You deserve to put yourself first just like every other person does, just like the people who traumatize you do. So part of trigger planning, travel planning, is learning how to put ourselves first. Our needs, our desires, our emergencies, not mask them anymore. Anyway, ooh man, we're coming back around on the walk, back around to the beginning. So, yeah, maybe don't go, maybe go, right? Like, I'm saying this as I'm on a trip to see my mom right now. And I love her and I love spending time with my mom and I want to have time with her before she goes, you know? Um, and we have worked a lot in our relationship and it's made my trips home possible. And that growth wouldn't have happened if I had just said no to the possibility of being triggered. And that brings me to tip number 9, which is do not judge yourself. Do not judge yourself for whatever part of the process you're in. Do not let other people tell you what is right for you. Hey, birdie, figure it out for yourself, you know, listen to yourself. And I'm going to have another video coming out on how to get in touch with your intuition and the methods that I use to do that because they are lifesavers. Like, literally, ooh, there's another way I could go too. Fun. But they're literally lifesavers. They truly make, oh, actually, that is the way. I was about to get myself lost. That is the way I need to go. I once had somebody who broke off our friendship because she felt that I was a dangerous person because I was still connected to my mother. I mean, that's fine. If you like don't want to be friends with me or with anybody, like, definitely don't. Like, this person made me question. I had a full spiral about this, thinking, oh my God, like, am I just an enabler? I'm a dangerous person because I let, you know, somebody who was a part of my abusive past into my life. And it did help me come to the realization that I'd been avoiding putting off going to therapy with my mom. And it did make a big difference. And so I'm grateful to that person because it did spark me to be like, I need to go to therapy with my mom. I need to ask her. And we did, and it was gorgeous. It was beautiful. That was just the right decision for me. My mom is still a really important part of my life, and she has grown a lot, and we've been able to talk through so many things, and that actually gives me more access to myself. I am not condoning this for anybody else. If you need your mom or anybody in your family to not be in your life, and there's people who have said they don't want me in their life, right? That is okay. We're allowed to do that. And so I'm not trying to convince anyone, but do not let anyone decide for you what is healthy, and do not judge yourself for being in a different place than other people around you. That includes if you've cut people out and you're like, oh my gosh, am I a bad person for cutting them out? You do you. And trauma is really tricky, messy business, and it's different for everyone. Everyone's situation is super unique, and just let yourself be open to what the next right action is. And sometimes that next right action is something that feels a bit scary, like visiting home or telling them they don't have access to you anymore. And I fully support both decisions if they are right for you. And that brings us to finally number 10. Number 10, which I mentioned at the beginning of this video, is a step that I didn't even realize existed until this trip when I was feeling not dysregulated necessarily, just off, just sad, just not my usual peppy self, which is amazing because I was depressed for so many years. But number 10 is grieving. And by grieving, I mean as you start to become a more regulated person in places where you used to be triggered and traumatized and anxious, there's grief involved. I'm sorry to say, there's so much grief, right? But grief makes room for joy. So it's not a bad thing. But what I was experiencing during this trip that was really jarring for me was I'm no longer interacting in the same old ways that I used to in this family and in my childhood home and even around my mom. And there's heartbreak involved in that because we had a dynamic or we have a dynamic or certain expectations of hers that I can't support anymore that are falling away. And it feels like breaking my mom's heart. It feels like breaking someone's heart. It feels like breaking my own heart. It feels like doing something illegal that I'm not supposed to do. And it also feels like recognizing ways in which I wasn't myself around my family, in the home I grew up in. It's grieving the person I didn't get to be inside those walls. And it's really sad. There's no way around that. And anger was coming up. And I recognized that, yeah, like I have reasons to be angry at my mom or at somebody else in my family. My dad's passed away, which is why I don't mention him. Once I recognized what that was, what that feeling was, I actually just needed to feel it. I didn't need to take it out on anybody. And it also means that I'm growing. So, what I'm saying is, as you start to use these tips or other tips, things that work for you, to allow yourself to be the regulated version of yourself, you might find that in places where you used to not be, the places that used to trigger you, that now actually don't, because you've come up with strategies for yourself, you've healed, you feel more serenity, you feel more at peace. You don't get caught up in the tangled web that you were born into. You might find some grief there. And I want you to know that it's okay to feel it. Tip number 10 is just to grieve. Just to feel it. Just let it happen because it's actually a good thing. It actually is the dying swan song of that part of you that felt like it had to hide away, realizing that it doesn't anymore. And that's really beautiful. So I guess I'll add it to tip number 11 is celebrate. Celebrate yourself when you get home. Celebrate that you just did that. And whatever holiday you celebrate, Merry fucking you miss. And also just like super thank you. Super thank you for being there, for giving me someone to talk to, for giving me a reason to come outside because I really needed it. And stay tuned. I have a snow-based animation that I'm super excited to share with you. So hopefully that short will be up soon. Toodaloo! That's my bird call.